Is Paul George the greatest trade asset in NBA history? What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new series, Transaction History, where we dive into the transaction history of NBA players to see how much their trades have altered the course of the NBA. Starting off the series is current Philadelphia 76ers forward Paul George. Before we hop into it, please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. Now, let's hop in. In case you didn't know, Paul George began his career as a member of the Indiana Pacers, being selected 10th overall in the 2010 NBA Draft. George went on to become one of just 4 All-Stars from this class, including John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Gordon Hayward, all of which who were selected in the top 10. George wasn't great by any means during his rookie season, but still managed to earn all-rookie second-team honors. However, the franchise saw the potential in a Paul George and Danny Granger pairing, and in the 2011 NBA Draft, opted to trade away 15th overall pick Kawhi Leonard and 42nd overall pick Davis Bertans to the San Antonio Spurs for promising young guard George Hill. Bertans would go on to stay overseas into the 2016-17 season, while Leonard went on to become a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, and regular season MVP runner-up until his arrival. Fast forward a few years to that 2016-17 season when Bertans finally comes over to the NBA. Paul George is currently in his second season removed from a gruesome leg injury sustained during USA Basketball that kept him out for almost the entire 2014-15 season. After back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals appearances in the 2013 and 14 playoffs, the Pacers would miss the 2015 playoffs and lose in the first round of the 2016 season, which led to them parting ways with head coach Frank Vogel. In arguably George's best season as a pro to this point, the Pacers would go on to lose in the first round again in the 2017 playoffs under new head coach Nate McMillan. With the franchise having just one promising 25 and under talent on the roster, it was time for the Pacers to make a franchise-altering move in the 2017 offseason. On July 6, 2017, the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder agreed to a deal to send 4-time NBA All-Star and 3-time All-NBA third-team selection Paul George to the Thunder in exchange for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. In an effort to fill the void of Kevin Durant alongside reigning MVP Russell Westbrook, the Thunder traded 2 promising young assets to form one of the top duos in the NBA. The Thunder would then go on to acquire 10-time All-Star Carmelo Anthony that same offseason to form their own Big Three in Oklahoma City. Unless George still has an MVP caliber season in him, Oklahoma City Paul George remains the best version of himself. In the first season as a member of the Thunder, George finished 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, as well as landing on the All-NBA third team. The Thunder would go on to lose in the first round in 6 games to the Utah Jazz in the 2018 playoffs, making it back-to-back seasons with first-round exits. George would return for the 2018-19 season with a new max contract and ended up having the best season of his career. George would go on to average 28 points per game while finishing 3rd in MVP and Defensive Player of the Year voting, while earning his only All-NBA first-team selection. However, the playoffs were once again a letdown, as George would watch then Portland Trail Blazers star Damian Lillard drill a 37-footer on him to end the series in 5 games. Now with 3 consecutive first-round exits under their belts since the departure of Kevin Durant, OKC decided it was time to rebuild. Just 6 days before the franchise moved on from star guard Russell Westbrook, the Oklahoma City Thunder and LA Clippers agreed to a deal on July 10, 2019 that would send All-NBA first-team forward Paul George to the Clippers to pair alongside recent free agent acquisition Kawhi Leonard. In exchange for George, the Thunder would receive promising young guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and veteran Danilo Gallinari. Most importantly, the Thunder would receive 4 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, and a protected first via the Miami Heat in the 2025 NBA Draft. With a plethora of draft capital to give up, the Clippers did so in order to unite arguably the best two-way wings in the league. However, as time would go to show, the Oklahoma City Thunder walked away as massive winners. Now, with Paul George's trade history explained, it's time to dive back and see what the two teams that traded him were able to turn those assets into, starting off with the Indiana Pacers. Starting off with Victor Oladipo, the Pacers got 3 seasons out of him before trading him for Caris LeVert in 2023 and 2024 second-round picks. The Pacers would then go on to trade Caris LeVert and a 2022 second-rounder for the expiring contract of Ricky Rubio, a 2022 second-round pick that became Andrew Nembhard, a 2023 first round pick that became Ben Shepherd, and a 2027 second round pick. As for those 2023 and 2024 second round picks, they would turn the 2023 one into Jalen Pickett and flip him alongside Julian Strother in a 4-team trade to acquire 2 2024 first round picks. They would go on to use those 2024 first round picks to help acquire Pascal Siakam from Toronto in January 2024. As for the 2024 second round pick, it remained with the Pacers, where this past draft they selected All-American guard Tristan Newton from UConn. In total, the Pacers were able to turn Victor Oladipo into Andrew Nembhard, Ben Shepherd, Tristan Newton, and 2 2024 first round picks used to acquire Pascal Siakam. Now looking at Domantas Sabonis, he was able to give the Pacers a strong 4.5 seasons, earning 2 All-Star selections in Indianapolis before getting traded. In 2022, the Pacers sent Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and a 2023 second-round pick to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson, who would be waived shortly thereafter. The Pacers would end up holding on to Buddy Hield for 2 years before trading him to the Philadelphia 76ers in a 3-team trade and getting back Doug McDermott in a 2024 second-round pick. The Pacers flipped that 2024 second rounder on draft night to trade up 1 spot and select Kansas wing Johnny Furphy. In total, the Pacers were able to turn Domantas Sabonis into Tyrese Halliburton and Johnny Furphy. Now looking back on the trade haul the Thunder brought in for Paul George, it's apparent that gilgeous-alexander was a massive win for them. Since joining the Thunder in his sophomore season, he's had 2 years of averaging 30-plus points per game and has earned 2 All-NBA first-team selections. While Paul George's 2018-19 season with the Thunder was fantastic, Shea's 2023-2024 season might have been better. He finished second in MVP voting to Nikola Jokic and helped lead the Thunder to their first top seed in the West since the 2012-2013 season. While Shea was the main asset from this trade, it's important to look back into what the Thunder turned their draft capital into and what still remains of it. Starting off with Danilo Gallinari, he gave the Thunder 1 productive season before being traded with cash to the Atlanta Hawks for their 2025 second-round pick. As for the rest of the draft picks, it goes as follows. They turned the 2021 first-round pick via the Miami Heat into Florida guard Trey Mann, whom, despite showing flashes of promise, was traded to the Charlotte Hornets for Gordon Hayward in 2024. The Hayward experiment flopped in OKC, as Mann now looks like a great piece for this year's Charlotte team. They turned the 2022 first-round pick via the LA Clippers into wing Jalen Williams. After finishing as runner-up of Rookie of the Year, Williams has now established himself into one of the top young wings in the association and a franchise cornerstone. The 2023 first-round pick via the Miami Heat was traded back to them for their 2025 first-round pick. The 2024 first-round pick via the LA Clippers became Weber State forward Dylan Jones, who was selected this past draft and is currently in his rookie season with the Thunder. As for the 2023 first-round swap via the Clippers, the Thunder opted not to exercise the swap and keep their draft selection. Still to come, the Thunder have the rights to swap picks with the Clippers in 2025 and their unprotected 2026 first-round pick. From the Heat, they have their lottery-protected first-rounder in 2025, which becomes unprotected in 2026 if it stays in the lottery. Now, with a side-by-side comparison of what the two teams were able to get from Paul George, you can see just how much it has altered their franchises today. The Pacers were able to land their top player in Tyrese Halliburton and acquire assets to land their other top player in Pascal Siakam. Outside of that, the Pacers were able to build up their young core and extend the franchise's contending window. As for the Thunder, their trade haul from Paul George remains one of the most lopsided in NBA history, especially given the Clippers weren't able to find success with George in LA. The Thunder were able to acquire their top player in the deal and a potential all-star in Jalen Williams to go along with their extended draft capital. Now, it's up to you. Is Paul George the best trade asset in NBA history?